Hi, everybody. So we are back. I know we were a little bit later getting started this year. A lot of reasons going into that, from technical things to just life. Life happens. But we are so excited to come back with the very first episode of this season.
Yeah, season three,
Three.
three.
Season
Wow.
three. So this time we're going to do something a little bit different. We kicked off our season by visiting Killarney in April. And for those who've been to Killarney in the off season, you know that it is a very different camping experience. They
Hmm.
close down the park roads. You have to schlep all your gear in. You don't have access to, water around. You have to go to set water areas to gather water, that kind of thing. It's almost like a mix between backcountry and front country for people who are wanting to kind of challenge themselves a bit in the off season. So we decided not to use that as our Killarney review because we're going to go back during the on season and have like the traditional Killarney experience shared with all of you guys. But it is a good opportunity. We decided to talk about how we get out because we camp from March or April right through until November each year. We really only take like those couple months off in like December, January, February.
Hmm.
And in order to do that, there's certain gear we have to use to make those trips both safe and more comfortable for us and for our pets. So today we're going to come and share some of our top 10, I believe, items that make all the difference for us when we're camping in the off season.
Okay. I guess in no particular order.
In no particular order.
So, you would need a tent with a full fly. Many reasons for this is because, for one, warmth. You want to keep all that body heat in, and two, protect. It will protect you from the elements.
Definitely. And I mean, I know some of you are trailer campers and RV campers, and no shade to you that we said tent instead of trailer RV. However, if you're going somewhere like Killarney, because the park roads are closed, you can't bring a trailer. It has to be a tent. So if you are wanting to go there specifically, the option to have a trailer is just not there. However, there are other areas that are open year round that do take trailers, like McGregor Point, which we have covered before. And you can check that video out here. I'll put it right here in the video. Um, but yeah, with Killarney specifically, it has to be something you can carry in. The next thing we wanted to mention was our chair options. So we have a whole slew of different chairs and stuff that we've used for different adventures. And sometimes we don't even bother really with a chair and we just use the picnic table. But the thing is, when you're camping during like that spring, fall season, if you're going super early, the picnic tables might be covered in snow and ice. B, they're probably wet, potentially muddy, just because of the season, that time of year. And C, your chair can actually offer you some more comfort, and we'll get on that here in a
Hmm.
second. So first, you want something that is packable. If you are going somewhere that you have to carry it in. So with Killarney, with the trip into that site, when we stayed at like the furthest site. I think there was only like 3 or 4 sites past us going back into the park. So like it was a trek with all of our gear. You wouldn't want to be carrying in like something big and bulky and heavy because it's just adding to your gear load. So we have packable backpacking chairs. You've probably seen them in a lot of our videos already.
Hmm.
And that just works really well for carrying in during that time of year. If it's not something that you're using normally, you can get them relatively cheap on Amazon. I will share a link to one of the ones we use in the video description. But it just gives you that ease of being able to bring a chair that you're comfortable sitting in without having to add too much weight to your gear. However, if you're going somewhere that you can drive pretty much right up to your site, whether that's booking one of the front sites at Killarney or going somewhere like McGregor Point, and you can have that heavier gear because you're not worried about having to carry it, I am absolutely in love with my Kuma Lazy Bear chair because it has a heating option. It uses just a little portable unit for powering it, which is very similar to the unit you would use if you were charging your phone or something. It can be easily recharged with, if you have an electrical site. All the sites at McGregor that are open year round are electrical. But if you're going somewhere off grid, but you still have that ability to be able to carry that in, like I said, like the very first sites at Killarney, it can be charged in your vehicle or off a jackery. But on those really cold days, those days that you're just like super chilled and you just want to warm up, you're getting the fire going, but it's not warm enough to really heat you yet, being able to snuggle into that heated chair is everything. And Lucifer gives it the dog stamp of approval.
The next thing on our list are sleeping pads with good R value. The main reason why you want to have a good R value is because you're going to have that good insulation that'll protect you from the cold air coming up from underneath the tent there. So compared to cots, which are just bulky, I mean, if you're up at one of the front sites at Killarney, okay, you could probably
have at her.
have at her if you want, but still, I'd put a sleeping pad on top of that regardless.
And I wouldn't want to cart the cot all the way into the site we were at Killarney.
No. And also, stay away from air mattresses during the cold seasons. Just because the air temperature in the air mattress is going to be the same temperature as the surrounding air.
Yeah, and it's also pulling that cold from the ground, because keep in mind that the ground is frozen. So it's pulling that cold up and cooling the air in the air mattress, and you're then laying on it, and that just makes it a lot harder to stay warm at night.
Yeah, and if you have an old achy back like mine, it's not going to do so good. So these are the guys that we use. We got these right off of Amazon, Gear Doctors. This is mine. Surprisingly, Britt just got this one. She used it last trip, and it's roughly the same size as mine, and it's got like a foam pad in it too. So they've obviously made some changes or something, but yeah, this one
big
really
difference
intrigues
is
me now.
This one is self-inflating, and this one isn't. So you do have to inflate it yourself, but it does come with the like air sac to inflate it.
Yeah, so I mean, you don't have to be in musical person to
musician.
You don't have to be a musician, musician to fill it up with.
We're keeping that take.
Yeah, with the full big old lung capacity there. So yeah, if you're a magician, then you could get her done.
But we've switched to the Gear Doctors, and that's exclusively what we're using for sleeping pads now. They're really cost effective compared to a lot of the other options, and we've been really impressed with them. So once again, I will make sure I share that in the description of the video for anybody who's interested in those.
And also, I've had this guy this would be maybe the third season. Third season. So I mean, compared to buying a new air mattress every single year, or maybe 2 air mattresses per season, it seems like we've been doing that. So,
and we do share our beds with the dogs, so the dogs are walking on these, and they're holding up really, really well.
Yep. Link down below.
The next one I wanted to talk about was for those of us who absolutely love hammocks. Now, if you've been following us for any while and you've watched any of our other videos, you know I absolutely love to relax in a hammock. The problem with the hammock in the off season, especially if you tend to use one of those like cheap, lightweight parachute type hammocks, which is what I do just because it's easier to bring along, is that cold air underneath and that material chills so quickly and you're frozen before you know it. Now, you can always put your sleeping pad inside to add that layer of protection. But one of the best things that you can do in terms of being able to stay near your hammock for any length of time, especially if you're going to be sleeping in it, because, I love hammock camping with Lucifer. But even for a hammock, if you're just hanging around in the hammock around the campsite, is an underquilt. For those who've never seen an underquilt before, it is essentially what it says. It is a quilt that goes under your hammock. Now, it does have a clip on the end over here. There's one on each side, and it just clips up into your hammock straps or your rope, just like you would your hammock, but it actually cocoons and creates a layer of insulation underneath your hammock so that you have that extra warmth and you can just stay more comfortable for an extended time.
All right, so next on our list is a commercial tent footprint or a tarp. You want to have these underneath your tent, just smaller than the actual footprint of your tent, just to help protect you from the elements, from snow, ice, mud at that time.
I mean, nobody wants to have to clean their tent after it's been sitting in a mud patch.
Yeah.
And that is a very big reality of spring camping.
Yeah, and especially when you put your tent, like when you're packing up, right? That tent is just going to be wet underneath if you don't have any protection underneath it, right? And you just want to make sure that it is not sticking out, because especially like when you get into this early springtime, you get that rain, right? And that rain is just going to just want to pull up on that if it's sticking out and
then
seep
it just
underneath your tent.
cools in because it's waterproof, right? So
Mhm.
you're now bringing that water in under the tent and just potentially increasing your chances of soaking everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yes, that's and as he said, like there are commercial tent footprints, but we just use a tarp. As long as it's properly sized, you don't need to necessarily invest in like an official tent footprint. A tarp, a standard tarp that's properly sized is good enough. All right, so this next point is very specific to the pets. And obviously, we are a pet friendly travel channel, so that is an important consideration. And that is having some sort of sleeping pad for your dog or cat if you have an adventure cat. Our cats don't tend to want to travel as much in these like cooler off seasons. Our dogs love it. And there is no one single best solution for a sleeping pad for your dog. The truth is, you need to find something that offers what you need, but also that your dog loves. And in the process of doing that, we've actually landed on a different pad for each of our two dogs.
Yeah.
Which is totally okay. So Lucifer's is this here, and it is from a company called Wingo Outdoors, and it is a padded, water resistant on one side, fleece on the other. It rolls right up just like a sleeping bag. It comes with a stuff sack, so it's easy for transportation. But when it's laid out, he's got a nice cozy insulated place that he can lay. Now, I will say that we tried getting Willow to use this one, and she had zero interest for whatever reason. I don't know why. It just wasn't her thing. And, you know, that's just personal preferences of each of your dogs. So there is a little bit of a trial and error. But Lucifer, the second I put this down, he's right on it. Absolutely loves it. But he's also the dog that tends to like to burrow under the covers and be more cozy. So it makes sense that he likes the cozy, padded nature of this one.
Yeah.
So that one is from Wingo Outdoors. And then for Willow, we recently added this mat from Wag Around Town to our mix. Now, it's not padded the same. It's a non-slip, water-resistant backing. And just like a smooth surface on the top, it rolls right up on itself with its little straps here, which makes it really easy for carrying. The company also sells an attachment that you can like attach it to the leash, which is amazing. Like it literally, their special leash like carries it. So that's another option to look at. And it just rolls out. You put the non-slip side down, and she has this super cozy, comfy mat that she can lay on. And these are also great if you're going out around town, if you're like stopping at a brewery, or like a lot of service dogs have these and use these. And they have a whole lot of different patterns and designs too. We actually got this one because it was supposed to be for Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
And then we laid the mat out the first time, and instantly Willow was on it. Like it was hers. And now the second you lay this down, she beelines to wherever you put it because she needs to lay on this mat. So she made it very clear that this is her favorite thing ever, and it is her mat. And so we bring this with us everywhere we go. But having these kind of sleeping pads is important because, as we said with the tent footprint, you're dealing with snow and ice and mud. And it's just not fair to them to be like, I'm going to sit in a comfortable chair, but you have to go lay in the mud puddle.
Right.
So we make sure that we have something to keep each of our pups comfortable, and I will link both of these in the description of the video so you can check out your options.
All right, so one thing you want to make sure is good, proper footwear, as in good waterproof hiking boots. These were waterproof. They've seen better days. They're just a few years old, and I use them like almost every day around here. So, but yeah, they need to be waterproofed. But
as you learned,
as I learned, I thought they could have managed over at Killarney, but no, I should have
Melting snow on unmaintained park roads means that you are going to be schlepping through some puddles. It's just bound to happen.
Yes. So yeah, I learned my lesson. I mean, they are worse for the wear, but they're very comfy. But you want to make sure that they are waterproof, and if you can re-waterproof them again, then do so. Um, Stay away from like hiking shoes.
Yeah.
Any low profile shoes, just I wouldn't bother with them. You need an actual boot.
Yeah, for the schlepping into Killarney especially, because like I said, they're not maintaining those park roads. So I actually wore my hiking shoes, which are the most
Oh,
comfortable for me, which is great. Except that when I would step down, you'd sink right into the snow and then through the ice into the water below, and now all that snow and everything is up above the top of your shoe. It just like because the roads aren't maintained at that time, and this year the snow did last a little longer than usual, so
yeah.
it was a little deeper than it we would have predicted it would be in April. But the shoes just weren't quite tall enough to protect my feet. Okay, so the next point is something that isn't necessary per se, but we found it just made things easier, and that is to bring some sort of water filtration system if you're doing one of those trips where you're schlepping in quite a distance. So, as I said, at Killarney, there was access to water up at the front where you parked. But if you're in the very last site, like we were, having to carry that water all the way back is a bit of a trip. And if you can avoid that, it's great. Now, the site we were in, we were right on the water. There was beautiful, like ice cold water right there. But obviously, you don't want to just drink from the lake and hope that you don't get sick. So then it comes down to the option of bringing a water filtration unit. Now, for those of us who do any type of backpacking or backcountry trips, that's nothing new. That's how you get your water in the backcountry. But it's something that a lot of people in the front country either don't have or don't have experience with, and that's totally okay. But I do encourage you to consider it in situations like that Killarney trip. And it doesn't mean you have to get some big fancy filtration unit. We recently discovered Grail water bottles, and let me tell you, it is the most amazing thing I have ever seen. So this is it. This is the whole thing. It's got a little cap, comes off. You get your water bottle like normal. But the magic is when you take it apart, it takes a moment. So you put your water in here, and then this piece has a filter built into it, and it filters it literally just from you pushing down, and it forces the water through that filter, which then filters your water. And then you can drink from it. This will push right down. I'm not going to make you guys sit here long enough to do it. But you can drink straight from the bottle without having to worry about impurities or bacteria or getting sick from the water you're drinking, but also not having to necessarily walk all the way out to the front to get your water every time. We use that like religiously at the Killarney trip. And the best part about Grail, as opposed to like a Life Straw or some of the other popular options, is that you can easily pour from here into your dog's water dish. So any of the ones that require using like a straw action, you got to remember you still need water for your pets or for your cooking. This works easily for all of that as well.
Speaking of drinking, you want to make sure that you have an insulated coffee cup because just to function, you need coffee.
But not just coffee. Like it's good for tea.
It,
It's good for soup.
it's good for teas and soups. I don't think. Yeah, you could probably do like a soup out of that, right? But you probably won't be able to drink out, consume it through the top here. But anyways, yeah, you just want to have like an insulated coffee cup. This is what we use. The Contigos. Can't go wrong with them.
Yeah. Temperatures are cold, and if you
Yeah.
can get something warm into your system, it's going to make all the difference. Whether that is, like I said, coffee, tea, hot chocolate, soup. Some people love just heating up some broth and drinking some broth, and that makes them feel better when they're out in their cold season adventures. But whatever it is, having that insulated cup means that you don't have to worry about it getting cold before you finish it.
Exactly.
Okay, and another thing that is kind of backcountry inspired, but that we do find help in some of those off-season trips, going back again to that big long walk in from Killarney, is our bear vault. Now, for those who've never been backcountry camping before, you have to consider the fact that bears are going to want to get your food. And there's really two different ways to handle it. One is to hang your food and hope that you are hanging it far enough out from the tree and in a way that the bear isn't going to be able to get it. And the other one is to use some sort of bear vault or bear box type system. Now, some parks have those bear boxes available to you, some don't. This is a bear vault. It is specifically designed that the bears can't get it open because of the little tabs on it that keep it closed. They can scratch it up, they can attack it, they can roll it around. It's fine. It will keep your food safe and contained. And so we didn't like bring all of our meals in to the Killarney trip, but if, for example, you're worried that there might be an active bear in the area and you wanted to, I don't know, go pick up your day's worth of food once a day in the morning, you can use this in between just to make sure that you're not going to have any run-ins with wildlife. And this is especially important because, like, that Killarney trip, for example, you're talking, you've schlepped way in, you're away from where all the vehicles are, you're away from the front office, there's not a whole lot of people, so bears and other animals are more likely to wander out. They're also coming off of hibernation, so they're hungry. So just having that security is a great idea for those kind of off-season adventures. Or like in the fall, they're getting prepared for hibernation. So we don't bring this on all of our trips. Obviously, we bring it in any backcountry type setting. But when it came to Killarney, something like this means that you can take far fewer trips back to the vehicle when it's, you know, a half hour, 45-minute walk through deep snow.
And with that, we did take some footage. It won't be a review, but we just wanted to share some footage that we took from Killarney. So.
All right, so we are at Killarney. You can see you've got the store and everything back here. And there's John checking out the signage about the area. So this time of year, they do not actually open the roads. So the campground is open for camping, but the roads themselves are all closed off. You're allowed to camp, but you have to actually carry your gear in, or like we brought our wagon here, and we've got a sled down here that's provided by the park. So when you park back here, you can see there's some sleds and wagons there, and you got to cart all your gear in. So let's take a trip in and go check out our campsite. All right, we're at our site for the weekend. We did get set up ahead of time just because we didn't want to wait. I know that there's some rain coming in overnight tonight into tomorrow. So just to be safe, we set up first. But you can see we've got our new Kuma tent here. Now I will say, Site 87 is a lot smaller than we anticipated. So just something to keep in mind if you're considering this site for yourself. The beach is right down here. So in the summer, a lot less privacy. Right now, nobody's at the beach. But heading into the site, our wagon that or our sled, sorry, that we haven't returned yet. We will be, now that it's empty. We've got some puppers over here, and John. Hi, Goose. Hi, John. Hi, Willow, who's busy smelling something. Get your fire pit there with your water view. But my favorite part is if you come up over here, and this is where, I'm going to be honest, we may have spent a little bit of time already before even recording this. So you can come out here onto the rock. You have this nice sunny spot to just sit, have your coffee, grab a snack. Hell, you can even bring your meal down here. And look at this view. If I go down here and look up, then you'll be able to see what I mean about all the space that we have to hang out. So turn around and there. So that's where we've been sitting, hanging out, and enjoying the quiet. Even though that's a beach right there, just listen. That's why I like camping at this time of year. Daddy's making walking tacos, but the pups think it's for them. Oh, puppers. Nice try.